Hello and welcome to Contramundum. Today we are going to be talking about the government shutdown and how maybe the swamp is going to get drained. I don't know. And with me today will be Mr. Ron Dodson making his 1,000th appearance on Contramundum. Welcome, Ron.
What's going on, Andrew? And it's been a while though. I haven't been on in a little while.
It has been a while. We've been out of the loop. So welcome everybody to Contramundum. We'll see you on the other side of the intro, if I can find it.
The American Revolution, in other words, is never finished. It must always be renewed.
Greater love than this hath no man, than that he lay down his life for his friends.
What if it's not envy?
We must take back our cities, and take back our culture, and take back our country. God bless you, and God bless America.
Okay, we are
That's
back.
such a good intro. I get pumped up every time you got Nixon, who is undergoing this revitalization and this renewal.
Yes, he is.
In American thought, which was always young people. He got screwed.
Oh yeah.
He was, and then you've got Patty Buke just bringing it. Golly,
That's right.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's right, man. Yeah, I know. I get pumped up with it too. You know, I'm sitting here usually with CJ, and I'm like, oh,
what if it's not envy?
Here we go.
What if it's not envy? It's so good.
What if it's not? Yeah, stuff is happening, Ron. It's interesting. I mean, last week or Monday, our last episode, CJ, who's off today, he's on vacation. He's out of here. He's speaking at a conference in Pennsylvania. Some of our listeners are probably at that conference right now. He brought up that he thinks that this was all a major trap that Trump set for the Democrats, forcing them, like picking an issue where it's like, we're not going to pass a budget or a continuing resolution that funds healthcare for illegals, right? Something that a wide majority of the American people are like, nope, we're not doing that. That's wrong. We shouldn't do that. So an issue that's already very popular. I'm sorry.
And becoming a wider. Becoming wider every day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so you pick an issue that's very, very popular, but one that they are all in on, and forcing them to shut down the government, and then you get to unleash Russ vote. And so you wrote something in the American Mind about like a once in a lifetime opportunity to completely eviscerate the administrative state. So most of the people have an idea of what the administrative state is, but there's probably some that are maybe unfamiliar with how American government actually works. You know, we all grew up, I went to public school and we were reared
It's okay, little buddy.
I know. And we were reared on, like Schoolhouse Rock, and, the little bill on Capitol Hill, and it goes through the committee, and then it's voted on that. That's how we were taught how our government works. Even in college, right? I'm taking a poli-sci class, and it's all about that kind of thing, only more detailed. And it's like, that is not at all how the American system works whatsoever. That's a veneer over it, right? The real American government is the administrative state, tens or hundreds of thousands of bureaucrats, of people with power, with real power that can make law unilaterally, and no one votes for them, right? No matter who wins or loses, they stay in office and they stay in power. And that's the American system. I mean, it's not just, when we talk about like the deep state, people, it conjures up an image of, the CIA or the FBI doing all sorts of secret dastardly things, which they definitely do. But it's also, like the EPA or housing and urban development, and like all of these, 3 or 4 letter agencies that get to dominate American life. And right now, they could all get fired.
Well,
right. So
tell
us about that.
a large number. Well, let's kind of set the table and talk about this so that if folks aren't completely up to speed, they can kind of get an idea. So top down, the administrative state is brass tacks is the seat of leftist power. It is the center.
Mhm.
It is the foundation, and it was a masterstroke during the FDR administration. And remember, FDR was president for a long, long time, but
Literally for life. He was president for life. Yeah.
Until he died. See what I did there?
Yes.
And,
Oh,
so
right.
anyway.
We have to respond to this comment first before you go any further. Ron does not drive a Tesla. Let's just get that out of the way here.
Where did this come from? Why the question?
Why does
Why the
CJ look like he
question
bought a
about a
Tesla?
Tesla?
No Tesla for Ron.
Hold on. 1 second. Hold on. I'm coming back. Not let this.
Is he bringing his whole car back? I don't know what's going on here. Maybe he has a model of his vehicle. Here we go.
Hold on. I had to get my jacket.
Oh, is that taking away the?
And it's no. This is what I drive.
I can't see. What does that say?
It's a Porsche.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't drive one of those. I drive a Nissan Sentra.
That's okay.
Both foreign cars. We drive foreign automobiles. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I drive a German car.
Someday, if the subscriptions to contramundumpod.com really go through the roof, then maybe I'll join you in driving a finely engineered German automobile. So not a Tesla.
Am I okay to
I knew you would take offense to that comment.
Am I okay to pump the GoFundMe deal here?
Oh, well, for the church, absolutely. Yeah.
Hey guys, listen to Andrew. Give some money so that the church can get to self-sustainability and they can get to where they want to be. That's I talked about this on Aaron's show the other day. There's no better place. This is where you can actually make a difference with your money. And so instead of, a charity far off that where anywhere from 15 to 30 cents of your dollar is actually going to help something, this is dollars that will actually impact will have an actual material impact and accomplish what we're trying to do. So go fund me right now.
Yeah, thank you. The this morning with one of my congregants, we were out on the land at 6 a.m. this morning before dawn and breaking stones like we were on a chain gang, and for the wall around the church courtyard, we're working on that, building that.
This is very Jim Jordan imagery here. I love this.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I mean the comment here, like, no, Ridge Runner is not funding the church building. That's not what they do. I mean, yeah, they've already been extremely helpful. Just with everything, with helping us coordinate all of this, all of it, with being able to come down here and providing a platform for us to grow and build a church in. And so it's not that they would fund it at all. That's the thing. Yeah, the people, I mean, you'll get comments from people like, oh, you're grifting, and it's like,
no,
like we're actually building a church. Like we're actually doing something meaningful and real.
Yeah,
exactly. Like how many? Yeah, that's always the thing. Like people will say that, and it's like how many like internet people out there are constantly shilling for things and legit grifting. And what are they providing? Like nothing, right? They're not making anything real or tangible. whereas we're actually building a church.
Yeah.
And not just the like physical building, but like the people building the community. And it's like, okay, I mean, I could go the easy route. I could just get paid $7,000 a tweet, and then I definitely would be driving a car like Ron's. But but I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. So if you value,
you need that Qatar money,
7,000 per tweet, you know,
you need
then,
that Qatari money.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I posted, you know, Matt Gates's thing from Timcast where he's like, hey, we went to the thing and they've got a QR code for everybody, and if they like you, they scan it. And
isn't that obscene?
It totally is. And people are like, yeah, then the Hasabara, you know, accounts came out in force, and after Matt Gates retweeted it, and they're like, you're being funded by Qatar. And it's like, man, I wish, right? Yeah. I wish I was. I guess. I mean, not really. I'm an American. I wouldn't take foreign money ever. But it's like this. It's insane, right? That and even that, like oh, other countries, Qatar spends more money and China spends more money, and it's like, yeah, they're not getting as much bang for their buck, obviously, because you could see, like, anyone can see how dominated our legislators, our whole government is by that lobby. And that's the craziest thing too, is like, I'm not like, oh man, I hate Israel, they're the worst, they're horrible. It's like, no, I just want my country to be able to determine our own course, right? Do what's best for our people.
That's right.
And not be pushed around by one foreign lobby or another. Right. I want our legislators to do what's best for America and for Americans, which means
specifically for Americans, because that centers it in the people rather than some amorphous idea. America, you know, you've got to have in all these situations, in all these topics, you're speaking both of omelet and eggs, but it has to be grounded in eggs.
Yeah.
You know, so hugely important. I didn't mean to completely derail us, but send,
no, that's okay. That's okay. It's
a good not
topic.
Us. I mean, I'm a partner in Ridge Runner, and not just a limited partner, an investor. But Andrew's killing it. He's faithful, and it's just a good cause. So if you're gonna support some church planting somewhere, this is a good place to do it.
Yeah.
And to and really have a full-orbed gospel pastor who you're supporting. So
well, that's the thing too. We could segue to another topic we were going to discuss later. We're gonna circle back, to quote Biden's press secretary. We're gonna circle back to the OMB and administrative stuff. But I think, I mean, just as you bring that up, like the kind of churches that we are planting and building, like this week, it came out, actually, a fellow that watches this show and other shows like King's Hall and many of our guys that are out there. I think he watches Oren too, and lots of our friends. He Daniel Keene, he posted a video a month or two ago, and he's in your neck of the woods, Ron, in the Dallas area. Yeah. And he posted a video of a massive Indian block party in his neighborhood or around where he lives, and basically just said, like, I want my children to grow up in America. I don't want them growing up in India, right? And talked about H-1Bs and things like this. And for that, like, he was kicked out of his gym. There was a huge firestorm, like thousands and thousands of Indians spammed his business with 1-star reviews and things like that.
Yeah, let's so he's part of the Trails Church.
He was.
But what we need to understand, one of the things that's very perverse here is that the issue with ghettoization, and this is from a materialist standpoint, this is a fine neighborhood. These were nice houses and all that. That's not the issue. Ghettoization in the sense of this is a complete enclosed ethnic enclave
That's right.
And the issue is if you, and especially with the Indian culture, if you go after them, they will. I mean, it's like attacking the Borg. You
Yeah.
will get.
There's lots and lots of them.
Oh
Yeah.
well, but they can, but they have high in-group preferences, and
That's right.
and in-group preferencing is the hack to a liberal society, because
100%.
Daniel's just saying, hey, we're Texans. Why do we have this Indian enclave, this ghetto, to where it's clear this isn't within this area? This isn't America. This isn't Texas. And that either makes sense to you or it doesn't. Is America just, and we've said it a million times, I know on this show, but is it just an economic zone, or is it a way of life?
Yeah.
Now, our leaders have done everything they could to destroy any notion of way of life, but I think less so in the South, in Texas, in Tennessee, in the upper Western Midwest, Idaho.
Oh, dude, even
Montana.
in Minnesota, there's a distinct way of life, right? That's distinctly Minnesotan, right?
That's right.
And
so
every
is
part
that
of
a
the country.
good thing?
Yeah.
And why would and how is that not the problem with modern evangelicalism that chafes against these ideas? There is a sense in which that over a long, I mean, Andrew and I are both post-millennial, so but charitably so. If you wanted to call me optimistic Amil, I'd be that's not exactly right, but I'd be okay with that.
I wouldn't be offended by that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, but the point is over time, there is a sense in which the meta reality of the kingdom does help smooth over ethnic differences, but it never erases them. How do we know this? Because post eschaton, at the end of Revelation, when the holy city is being described, you still have the trees on each side of the river. And what are they? They're for the blessing for the nations, and that's post. That's post consummation. So
it's plural, right? Nations.
Right.
There's more than one.
Yeah. Not ethnos, but ethne. So the idea there is that yes, there is a sense in which under King Jesus, I can be at peace with folks who don't exactly pursue him exactly the way I do, or maybe not have my same language. But it doesn't erase those differences, and it doesn't say we should all just be putting a paper bag together and shaking real hard and make the best of it. That's just not wise. That's not prudence.
No, like that, it's
and
not.
Plus,
how
these aren't
beings
Christians. These are a bunch of Hindus, and hopefully there's a conversion to Christ among a vast swath of Hindus, and maybe that happens here. I doubt it if they're all living together, reinforcing their own, demon worship. And I don't mean to be harsh, but that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, plus, like, part of it too is, I mean, the thing that growing up, right, when we're sold this idea as school children and so forth of immigration, or that America is this melting pot, and that
that term got famous on Twitter this week.
Who came up with that term? I don't know. I don't know who came up with that term.
The revealing of who came up with it. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, like who came up with the nation of immigrants? Where did that come from? Like that lingo. I don't know. Someone should look into that. But it's interesting because it's sold to us as, they'll come here and they'll assimilate and they'll be absorbed into our thing and into what we are. And like, okay, if you're talking like one Hindu family from India that moves to Dallas and all of their neighbors are, North Texans, very distinctly North Texan people. Like, what's going to happen to that one Hindu family from Bengal? Right. Well, very, very slowly over time, over multiple generations, probably, they'll be incorporated into that people because they won't have the social structure of tons of other Hindu people around them, where their kids will grow up in North Texan ways of life. Some of them maybe will convert to Christianity. They'll marry other Americans, and Texans, and their kids will be half American, and then those kids will get married to Americans, and those kids will be only 1/4 Indian, and like eventually they'll be fully incorporated into that people, right? That's what happens when you have like one family. But when you have 10,000 families all moving to the same area, what you have is a tiny little India, right? And you have a colony of India within America. Like that's what has happened. And it's happened in every metro area.
Yeah. So I have a great, I've got 2 examples. First, I have 2 god kids now. They're not God, they're one's in college and one's in law school now, but they are racially Chinese, but they are ethnically Central Texan. Grew up in Austin. They have Texan parents. They go to church. They and it's beautiful. That's and then Andrew and I both have a friend, Bill Smith, who's a pastor in Tokyo, Japan, who is functionally became Japanese in order to minister to the Japanese. Yeah. And he married a Japanese woman. His kids are Japanese. He speaks Japanese. And so that is what assimilation looks like. And it happens when it's the spice on the entree. We've all had the poorly prepared dish that is all spice and you can't taste whatever it really is. Okay? But I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound all whatever, but if you've had a really good like fillet of sole and you taste the fish and it's awesome. Maybe you got nice white wine with it, but then if you pour so much butter and salt and pepper, suddenly you don't taste it anymore.
That's right.
Well, that's the danger. That's the danger in any ethnos, in any, because you have to have a way of life in order to pursue the greater things. This is just key throughout. And Paul talked like this. Heck, he was. Yeah, everybody knows the Cretans are a bunch of liars. But
he would be disciplined in most churches in America today if he used that framework.
Think of Pentecost.
Stereotypes.
Think of Pentecost. So Pentecost is the reversing of the curse at the Tower of Babel when all the speech was confused. Yet how was it fixed? Did suddenly every individual start speaking the same language? No. They were able to miraculously hear through a miracle of hearing or a miracle of glossolalia. Luke is not specific. Probably a miracle of speaking, but we don't know. But the point is they were able to hear the mighty deeds of God in their own language. The languages, the people groups, the ethne were preserved because that is greater glory to God. If you have you pull a hunk of diamond out of the ground and it's not very glorious. It's kind of white, looks kind of like salt. But once you cut it and put all these facets on it and polish it, now it's beautiful. It reflects light in ways that is indescribable. And that's to me, because we're told that God has a manifold wisdom and glory, that there's purpose in preserving these not in a gross way, but preserving these different people groups serves God's purposes and glory.
Well, that's always the interesting thing is to me too, is like people, you see this on the online right. It's fascinating to me, actually, is the average person that you'll meet in real life or you'll talk to online that is part of like the internet right. They're way more interested in foreign, cultures and languages and foreign things, right? Than any lib you've ever met, right?
Right.
It's
Yes.
fascinating, actually. And it's funny because it's like, yeah, like we actually want to preserve all of these distinctions, right? What makes humanity unique? Whereas the liberal, and not just like the leftoid, but like the liberal in general, person beholden to the political system of modern contemporary liberalism, both conservative and liberal, they view humanity as economic, zone, as one giant mass where there's a monoculture where it's all everything is mediated to us through Disney, Marvel, Star Wars movies, and everything is all the same. Right?
Well,
There was
don't you think
oh, go ahead.
don't you think liberalism, the philosophical foundation of it is that we must mitigate all difference, that difference in and of itself is bad, even
Yeah,
though
that's
it
part of it.
preaches diversity. What it's
Yeah.
trying to do is erase it's a flattening in order
Yeah.
to make more docile, more because difference, a sea urchin has a lot of variation, and that
Yeah.
variation can stick. A porcupine has a lot of
Mm-hmm.
variance in its
Mm-hmm.
not to get all statistics sounding, but it's what I do. So and but yet a hairless cat has no variation on
No.
its outside, especially if it's been declawed. And I think that's basically liberalism
Yeah.
is trying to make everyone into a hairless cat. That's Ron's point today.
That's good. That's good. And it is. I think so. And so within that, within that dynamic, I mean, it's interesting because like the only people that really believe in that ideal, are like Western peoples, right? Those are the ones that are like, oh, we're all the same. We all can think the same and operate the same. But people from non-Western societies, I mean, this is a point that Stephen made in his book, and one of the ones that's like so obvious and probably the most controversial is people from non-Western societies. They don't operate that way at all. Like they have
Right.
a tremendous amount of ethnic in-group preference, and that
Right.
is 100%, like you said, the hack to liberalism is you can operate in an ethnic enclave with in-group preference where you are preferencing your people over other people. And no, and if you're non-Western, non-white, whatever, no one is going to stop you, right? None of the civil rights law and things like that is ever going to be applied to you. And you see this with like all the big tech companies or even like corporations in general. What happens is you get Indians, and the Chinese do this as well.
Mhm.
You get people from one of those ethnicities, and then all of a sudden, right, they're overwhelmed with their co-ethnics in those companies, and they begin to dominate them. And it's like once you see that, it's like eye opening. It's like whoa, but
Well,
you also see it on the ground in real life in communities as well.
managerialism explains this because what so the idea in neoliberal kind of modern libertarian economics and with a
Mhm.
managerialist framework, you're looking for the lowest cost
That's right.
and then you're looking for the highest efficiency. And those aren't bad things, okay?
Mhm.
But how do they hack the system? Well, if I bring somebody, let's say, some new programming language is the perfect way to write a trading model for my hedge fund. And the only guy in town who knows how to do it is from Vanuatu, okay?
Mhm.
Well, I don't know what they speak on. Maybe they speak English in Vanuatu. Let's come up with I don't know. I really don't. Let's come up with something. Maybe it's from Malaysia. There,
Okay.
you know, and but he's really struggling at my company because he's the only guy who really he doesn't speak English very well. He doesn't, and you know, and so he asks, well, can I get a couple of buddies to help me and promise it'll be, you know, it'll produce. Well, what would I say? What we're talking about aside, I'm just trying to increase his efficiency. Okay,
That's right.
Yeah, bring your buddies. You got somebody to talk to and bounce things off of. You're not bothering me. I just care about the product. So it becomes
productivity going
hack.
up. Yeah.
That's exactly right. It's a hack. The problem is we view value only monetarily, but not what now at some point there is a Malaysian critical mass that is a wrench in the system of us having a way of life to try to pursue God, love each other, live peacefully with one another. That's what righteousness is. That's living in covenant with one another. You know, what Plato talked about, the search for the just city. Well, suddenly that's a hack because that introduces someone with whom I can't do that with, simply because their way of life is different. So
their language, you don't even speak the same language. Yeah.
Well, you don't speak the same. And so the meta issue becomes this, what, you know, and Schmidt, all Schmidt does, and, you know, Schmidt's kind of increased in prominence lately, but all Schmidt is doing is writing Plato for a new audience. Friend enemy comes straight out of the Republic.
That's right.
It is good to benefit your friends. And the point, the deeper point is that politics, the search for that just city, just being dikaiosune, the same word Paul uses for righteousness, that search can only be done among friends. Because if it's because you're ending up having to argue against your own best interests if they're not your friends. And that ends up in conflict, in either political, in the sense of, well, I'm just going to vote you out of power, or I'm going to shoot you if it becomes existential. So that's all that Plato, Schmidt, I mean, Hobbes, I guess, to a certain degree. I'm not a Hobbes expert. I know enough to order dinner at the Hobbes restaurant. But
you see this too, like
that's
that
what
point
the friend enemy distinction is about. Is politics is only possible in that sense of, we think about of debate, not debating, but putting our heads together about how to best do this thing. Is only possible among friends.
Among friends, that's right.
Among friends.
What we call politics, but what he would call politics is actually the conflict between friend and enemy.
Right.
But
that's the extension. That's the product. Right. That's what politics has to end up doing if you're to preserve the justice, the righteousness.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
100%. And it's like, you see this playing out. Like there was, I think it was last week, a city councilman in Florida who was basically saying probably a little bit more edgy than Daniel, but saying similar things where it's like, hey, our communities are being overrun with people from South Asia, with Indians. And I don't want America to turn into India, right? I want America to be America. And saying things like that. And there was this massive outrage against him for this. And he was, the council basically voted to remove him and things like that. And the meeting that they held, it was like 90%, like the place was completely packed and 90% of them were Indian. And you see, especially like the GOP completely bowed down in this way, even though right in the last election, right, you look at the segment of most of these people can't vote, right? They're here on H-1Bs, but the ones that are citizens, the ones that have become citizens, the way that they vote is 70 or 75%. for the Democrats, right? And so, but the GOP like bends over backwards.
Action.
Yeah, bends over backwards for them, not realizing like these people are never going to vote for you. Like you're never going to win that voting block. But the voting block that you do represent is Americans who say, "Hey, like I don't even have any opinions about India or Indians or anything like that. All I know is there's an awful lot of them here now, and this is not the same country that I grew up with anymore. I'm uncomfortable with that. I don't like it." And that's treated as though that's the most evil thing you could ever say. That's horrible and racist and awful. And it's like, well, no, I don't want giant monkey statues in my neighborhood.
That's right.
I don't want this stuff.
This has very little to do. And, here we'll get the Ron's a boomer comments, and I'm not. I am.
He's Gen X all the way.
Not that old. People
keep telling them that.
I don't care. I don't care what I really don't. I don't care what somebody looks like. I mean, I have a natural affinity to my own family.
Yeah,
that is just natural. But I don't. Yeah. It has very little to do with that. I know that there's some research that say that there are genetic predispositions to culture and all that, and that's fine. That's not
heritable,
not my,
whatever. Yeah,
that's not my argument to make. Okay, I think there may be something to all that, but that's not the argument I feel called to make. My argument is that Old Covenant is focused on genos, race. New Covenant is focused on ethnos, which is ethnicity, and those, while there is a tiny bit of overlap, those are. Genos is obvious in the ancient world, is understood as place of origin and obvious physical difference. Hence, the reason for circumcision.
Yeah,
it gave an obvious physical difference to delineate. Abram was just a Chaldean. That's all he was. He wasn't any different he was just a Chaldean with a sheikdom.
Yeah,
got called by God to move off to a different place. And hey, you're gonna have to make a cut. Well, why?
Yeah.
Well, because you gotta look different. Because
you gotta be
the
different
Old
than these
Covenant
people.
was
this.
So place of origin plus obvious physical difference equals genos. That's Old Covenant.
Yeah.
But in the New Covenant, it's focused on. This is why Paul stops talking. He basically forbids the continuation of circumcision. Because that's not the distinction that matters. Now the distinction that matters is culture born of culture. It's this ethnic distinction of language and custom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the that's the distinction I'm concerned with. I'm not saying that these racial distinctions aren't important and don't still exist.
Or they're not real or anything like that.
Or they're not real. No. Not making that point at all. I'm saying as Christians, it's this ethnic distinction that's most important. And that's the problem I have with some big, in North DFW, this big enclave of a separate ethnos. Because when you have a different ethnos, we can't practice politics together.
That's right.
This creates political war. And that's not healthy for a civilization. War is costly. It destroys civilization. It is necessary sometimes, but it is costly. It is not. We want efficiency. The truth that we talked about a minute ago with the guy from Malaysia coming and working in my hedge fund. By the way, I don't have any Malaysians working in my hedge fund. It was an example.
Ian Miles Chong is not working for your hedge fund.
That's right. What's the deal? What is the deal with that guy? Different topic. So anyway, the point is this
where to begin?
This apparent efficiency that I'm introducing actually has a much greater cost and breaks down the greater civic efficiency that makes politics impossible. So that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Other people can talk about these other distinctions and everything, but my issue is where, in other words, let me put it this way. Most people who discriminate on the right I'm with Nick Land. Your discrimination isn't discriminatory enough. It is a kindergarten discrimination.
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
is too coarse. The
right.
true fine discrimination is do we speak the same language? Are we pursuing the same goals? Do we have the same teleology? Do we have the same epistemology?
Yeah.
Do we share presuppositions that make civilization possible? Okay.
Yeah.
Ran over.
Yeah. Yeah. So all within, I mean, so all of that together, right? I mean, and this is stuff that most evangelical Christians, certainly most churches and pastors, like, are absolutely terrified to even entertain a conversation like this, a discussion like this of even asking the question, well, is it good for giant ethnic enclaves to be present in your country of people that are not just a little bit different, but very different in their way of life, and practicing a frankly an evil religion, right? Is that good? Is that good for any society? And is that good for our particular society? Is that good for us? Like, those are conversations you're simply not allowed to have. You're not allowed to, even in the JD Greer, cowardly way. Well, we won't talk about it from the pulpit, but you can maybe talk about it around the campfire. Like, no, you're not even allowed to talk about it around the campfire, these kinds of things. And so what Daniel did is engage in just very basic question of, are we allowed to have something called America as a distinct people, as a distinct way of life? And is it distinct from, South Asia and their way of life, right? Like, are we allowed to have that? Are we allowed to want that? Are we allowed to preserve that?
Well,
and the answer, of course, is no. We're not allowed to talk about that.
I think there's a lot of pastors whose rational fear gets into irrational dread. But here's the rational fear: that a focus on these distinctions will lead my people to just be raging assholes.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's a rational fear.
So this is a family stream, Ron. Now I have to warn all the...
Okay. Raging jerks. Edit that out. That edit was completely seamless. I'm sorry. Sorry. Family show. Kids, don't talk like Uncle Ron.
That's right. I'm sure my wife is watching right now or listening right now.
Sorry, Kara. Sorry, Kara. I love you, Kara.
All my kids are going to be using that word. Anyway,
Uncle Ron said the bad word. Right. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
But this is an adult thing. So this. Yeah. But what happens is we have to remember, what was Jesus' ethic here? Jesus made a clear distinction between public and private enemy. That's right. And there is a real sense in which the one who is building the enclave is a public enemy. I don't mean they're worthy of death or that kind of violence. That's not what we're talking about. No, I mean that because the left proclaims us wrongly as right-wing fascists and all this kind of stuff. And I don't have I'm with Paul Gottfried. Fascism and what I'm talking about is I'm really talking, hey, if we could just go back to true John Locke, I'd be okay with that. I think that ultimately leads to where we're here, but
we're all classical liberals here.
A true classical liberal wanted, no one would, you had to have, you had to profess Christ in order to hold office, and all these other kind of things. So, hey, can we just go back to that? But the point is that the irrational dread is that the people in the pews will lose that distinction between the public enemy and Christ's call to whoever God brings into my personal path.
That's right.
If they're coming in good faith, deserves kindness and respect and care. And that still is true. So if a representative from Indian Enclave in Plano said, hey, Ron, can I come talk to you about these things? Let's go have lunch. I'd give them all the time in the world. Yeah, absolutely. Here's my concerns. And I'm going to treat you with as you are, as God sees you, as made in his image. But as a collective action, there's a sense in which you are the public enemy. And we have to have, so the pastors see the inability of some to first of all, they don't know that distinction between
They don't
public
make those
and private
distinctions
enemy.
at all.
They just realize, they think Christ says love your enemy, and that means there are no enemies. That's not what Jesus says. And or if they're really sophisticated, they think their laity isn't able to make those distinctions. And so what I would call people to do, I think what Andrew's calling people to do, and CJ and others like us are saying, calling us to a Christian maturity that is able to handle that serrated edge, as Doug Wilson would say, that is able to truly cleave those fine distinctions, and to do so with meekness and fear at times, and with the serrated edge pointed out at times, and that's important. But that's where I think these I don't, I'm not super familiar. I've heard J.D. Greear. I don't know what his arguments are, but I think that's kind of where some of the issues come from.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we've entered a really strange time where our rulers, our elites, the people that drive everything for the last 30 years have operated in this way of simply replacing our people, and not necessarily even in this like malicious conspiratorial way, where it's just like, okay, for a multitude of reasons, the boomer generation did not have a requisite number of children and to replace themselves, and subsequent generations are having fewer and fewer. And
was it because they didn't have enough? Oh, family show. Sorry.
Yes. I thought you were gonna say money. No, they had plenty of that.
No, they got plenty of that. And they had plenty of the other thing. They just didn't have enough
they also had plenty of that as well. But they
normally kids, normally money and that other thing equal kids, not with the boomers.
Yeah, and it equaled death. It equaled death for a lot of babies. And
see
so,
how I was a good boy there, Andrew.
Yes, you were. You were very good. Very good. That's I mean, as an aside too, like I just preached on Genesis 38, and that's a tough passage to preach when like half your congregation's below the age of 13. It's like, okay, we're gonna maneuver around this very delicately. But that's the passage on Judah and Tamar. It's a tough one. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, so they engage in this, replacement of the American people simply because, I mean, and I'm being the most generous I possibly could be toward those who ruled over us the last 30 years. But they see a gap in skill and ability and so forth. And it's like, well, we could just import all of these people. Of course, there is a malicious side to it as well, where it's like, we can shave off labor. We can save a lot of money by doing this. And what it has done is created massive disorder in the country. I mean, even like the interesting thing is, I think a lot of people after October 7th were blindsided at how much the left, how much disdain the left has for Israel, and like vitriol, like a violent, vicious disdain that they have, and they just kind of like said, oh, this catch-all term of anti-Semitism. Well, there's a lot of anti-Semitism on the left, and that doesn't really explain it sufficiently at all. What it is like third worldist, anti-white, anti-colonial, anti-Western.
Yeah, explain the third worldist. Explain that, because I've gotten questions about this in this last week, and kind of explain for the viewers that terminology. Flesh that out a little bit. Yeah,
so it's we've imported millions of people in especially the last 30 years from third world countries that are steeped in this ideology that the reason that their countries, whether it's Central America or Sub-Saharan Africa or Southeast Asia, or South Asia, that the reason that those countries are so impoverished, the reason that things are so bad in those places is because Europeans went there and extracted resources from them and ruled over them, and all of that. Like, that's the reason those places are the way that they are. So there's this tremendous amount of resentment that's been there, certainly since the 1960s, in the post-war era, that every problem that they've ever had is due to Westerners, right? And that's
structural disadvantage.
That's just present there at like a baseline level. And so then they come here and have, like, by comparison, like, extraordinarily high standard of living and good lives and all sorts of opportunities and advantages and so forth. And rather than view the host country as tremendously gracious and welcoming and kind and all of that, they view them actually with disdain, with anger and resentment, because the only reason America has wealth is because it exploited brown people and stole from them.
Right.
And so that's the undercurrent of really their entire ideology. And so they view Israel, right? They view Israel as a Western country, and we would debate, okay, is it really a Western country or not? That's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
it's immaterial.
Well, if it wants to survive for any length of time, it better act like one.
That's right. And they view it as one, whether it is or not. That's how they view it. They view it as a European country. They view them as white people that are attacking brown people and killing brown people. And that's the root of their hatred of Israel. It isn't their critique of Israel would not be the kind of critique you would see on the right, and all of that. Those two things do not, they don't intersect really in any way at all. And so people are like just totally blindsided by that completely. And you'll have people like on the online right that will sort of glom on to their language, to their talking points about human rights violations and things like that. And not realizing that, like, no, everything that they believe about Israel, they believe about the United States, right? They view the United States as colonizers. We exploited the Indians, the American Indians. We exploited, Africans as slaves. And so anything that we have that's good is because we did evil stuff, right? That's how they view America. That's how they view the country. I mean, and you saw it in 2020. You saw them, destroy statues of Columbus and like colonial American, memorials and things like that, because all of that's evil. All of it's evil and bad because white people did it. And so that's what drives it.
Right. So, Andrew, question for you and the class. Is Christianity a colonizing force?
Answer, yes. Yes, it is.
That's
absolutely
the entire model. The model of the great, and so this leads to part of the problem, back to the pastoral issue.
Yes, that's right.
That we have in evangelicalism bought a model where the mission is primarily, hey, can I get programs in order to draw kids, to get families, to, as opposed to the model in the Bible, in the Great Commission is a stream of national projects in which, of course, you have to, again, it's all about omelets and eggs, and you got to deal with eggs, but it's primarily about omelets. And that makes, in a liberalism, has short-circuited that because it wants to deal with individuals rather than groups of people. It wants to deal with individuals rather than ethne.
It's individuals. It's individuals only. That's how liberalism views the world. Is we're just a random collection of individuals. We are not any kind of covenantal organism, right?
That's right.
We're only the we're never the one. We're always the many, right? We're never were never the many and one together. Like the Bible presents humanity.
How God presents himself.
Exactly. Yeah. Both humanity and God.
Let
like that's
us make man in our own image.
That's right.
Is that New Testament, Andrew? Is that
turns
in your
out it's
New
not.
Testament?
Yeah,
Where
it's
is
not
that?
at all.
Is it like real late in the Old Testament?
No, it's right at the very beginning, actually.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
God, that's strange. Huh.
Turns out it's right there the entire time. And so, yeah, I think, I mean, that's part of it, is that we have a very individualistic view of anthropology. One of the books, you know, when we get back to, when CJ's back and we're here, we'll finish. We only have a few more episodes left of Lightheart's book, Against Christianity. And I told CJ the next one I want to do.
So y'all are doing that right now?
Yeah, we have been. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
you haven't been watching what? Then that one's
I've been appearing.
I know. That one I think is Peter's best book.
I think it is too. I think it's hands down his best book. A House for My Name is good, but I think Against Christianity is I think that's his philosophical best.
Yeah, absolutely. And so from there, I was like, you know, I think the one it would be kind of controversial to do it, but Jim Jordan had a symposium on, you know, the failure of Baptist culture in America. And it's not.
He did. I can send you the PDF of the entire book. That's
I have it. I have it printed out. And I've read through it several times, and it's not this like pejorative against Baptists or Baptist theology per se. That's not what it's about. Like the title,
because Jim understood the difference between public and private enemies.
That's right. Yeah. It's not like, oh, these stupid Baptists screwing everything up. Like that's not, you know, the point of, and so I almost wish it was titled differently. Because it really doesn't convey what it's actually about. But there's a few good ones there. I mean, Gary North's essay in the beginning, just talking about the moral majority and things like that. I read through that again recently, and it was like, and I think I read it either like a month or two before Charlie Kirk was killed, or maybe right after. And I was like, whoa, something similar is going on right now, but different and way better.
Boy,
actually.
Gary was so good. Good.
He was.
Night.
Yeah, he was.
His textbook on a high school approach to Christian economics needs to be in every, if you're looking for a homeschool curriculum,
it's really good.
No further.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Extremely good. Extremely
then go
good.
read your Thomas Sowell or whatever. But
yeah, Trudle. Wait, Turtle's come. Did the Baptists cause something? Do you think? No, they did not cause transgenderism. That's not.
No. Hey, and by the way, I'll admit, and you know, I'm a deacon in the PCA and all that, and thoroughly reformed. That being said, I was baptized Southern Baptist, and everyone's a Baptist on the frontier. That's right. The tension. Yeah. The tension is, what do you do once the covenant starts rolling and reproducing itself? That's right. Where the tension is, and therefore that causes: do you have a royal form of worship, or do you have a tribal form of worship? And so that's where these tensions are. This isn't a Baptists. I am now ethnically Presbyterian, but the Baptists are my Ginos. Those are my people.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's just what America.
See how I made a full circle there?
That's right,
Andrew.
That's right. You did
full circle. We're gonna get back to O&B eventually.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there, but because that's the I titled the episode that, and it's like we've gone, and I knew this was what we would do, because when we talk,
because this is what we do when we get together. This is just like lunch.
We're just everywhere.
If y'all were to come, if we're going and grabbing burgers, and right. He and I have a couple other really close friends, this is what it is. It is exactly. Stream of consciousness, grab an oar, try to.
That's
keep
right.
up.
That's right. But yeah, I mean, I think to kind of put a bow on this, like things are shifting and changing rapidly, and the church as it exists, I mean, the ecclesiastical structures, the leadership that we have, it's been shaped largely by whether it admits it or not, the the seeker sensitive model, a Kellerite type of model that particularly avoids difficult political questions, difficult cultural questions, that is very much in the kind of neutral world in terms of Aaron Renn's three worlds.
Yep.
And what you see now happening is younger people have adapted to negative world, that they understand that the Christian faith is viewed, and it's interesting because it isn't I need to talk to Aaron about it some more, because it isn't so much that like the entire, like you definitely felt this way during the Biden years, that everything everywhere is just geared against sincere Christian faith.
Right.
I even saw like a post by the gubernatorial candidate, the Democrat gubernatorial candidate, is it like Schellenberg, I think, attacking Winsome Sears over her position on abortion and saying this is extremism, it's violent rhetoric, that she believes that abortion is murder, has no place in the state of Virginia. And of course, she says this while she remains completely silent about her attorney general candidate, who, sends texts about hoping his political opponent's children die. And
You're not supposed to pay attention to that, Andrew.
No, that never happened.
Look over here. Look over here.
Look over here. She says stuff about abortion we don't like. But like you that kind of framing in like 2022, right after Dobbs, where the Democrats went completely all in on abortion. It might have worked then, but I don't think it's as effective a selling point to the general electorate as it would have been in 2022, particularly when these people are violent nutcases, right? That's the base of their party, is people that want us dead. And so
yeah, it's not saying to you're not exercising hyperbole to say that. I mean, the left is from its beginning a culture of chaos, of death, of ugliness, of lawlessness. That's what it is. It is ultimately, and I mean this in both the philosophical and the theological term, it is satanic, meaning it's adversarial to civilization,
to that which is good and true and beautiful. Yeah,
and orderly and promoting of life and flourishing and all those fancy words. It is adversarial to that.
It's opposed to it at its very, very core. And
it's Lord of the Flies, baby.
Yeah, and so you look at that sort of language, and I look at it and I'm like, I don't know, I don't think that's going to work like it did even 2 years ago. And so this negative world, we're in this weird flux where like half of the country is not only in like negative, negative world doesn't even do it justice. Like they see Christians, they see conservative Christians, people like Charlie Kirk, people like you and me, who actually believe the Bible and believe what it says is true and right and good. Like they view us as people that deserve to die. Right. That we should not be allowed to live. They say what we preach is hate.
That's what the fascist, Aaron McIntyre's been so good on highlighting this is coded language, meaning you're worthy to be exterminated.
That's right.
And
that's right. The label of being a Nazi or a fascist or a white supremacist or whatever, they're not even trying to like prove, oh, this is actually what you believe. It's simply, this is what we say you are. You deserve to die.
It's
right.
Coded
That's
targeting.
100%.
Yeah.
And so that's like one half of the country to varying degrees, right? I'm not saying that every single person that votes for, Kamala Harris or whatever Democrat, like believes that in their heart of hearts. But a massive chunk, like maybe a third of them, that's totally what they believe. And then the rest of them are never going to challenge those people and say, no, you need to tone it down a little bit. You shouldn't be saying that, right? They're with them to that degree where it's like, they're not going to restrain them or discipline or cast them out of their side. So that's like half of the country, that's where they're at. And the other half of the country, maybe 20% of the people on the right, the MAGA base or whatever, like see that and recognize it and understand that, like, whoa, those are the stakes. Like, it isn't just like, oh, they want to raise taxes by 2% and we want to lower them by 2%. We're gonna have a little argument about that. It's that side wants me dead. I don't want to die. That's the dynamic we're in right now. And within the Christians in that group, right? The evangelical Christians within that side of things, who recognize that these are the stakes, that it isn't just, oh, these guys, like, they don't believe in Jesus. They don't believe the Bible is true. They're agnostic or whatever. And that's a mission field for us to go to try to persuade. No, these are the people that want to burn our churches down, that want to put bullets in our kids' heads. Like, they want us dead. It's
interesting because there's a interesting dynamic between these non-native enclaves that we've been talking about, and who kind of want to do they want to transform their part of wherever they've settled into back where they left from, but the left wants us dead.
Yeah.
And so,
and there's some overlap there too. Like there is, there absolutely is. And that's what's interesting. And we're coming to a point where the way you fight all of this is coming to this isn't the first, we're not the first civilization that has had to deal with these issues. And you tend to have it go, I'm very optimistic because I know that God's ultimately, all things happen for the good for those who love him and are called according to his purposes. That being said, if history is any guide, this tends to go that when you have this level of corrupt oligarchy, that you're going to get some level of tyranny to follow. People ask, oh, Ron, you're a big Trump guy. Well, I am. But you know why chiefly I'm a big Trump guy? Because he doesn't hate me. That's right. He doesn't want me dead.
He doesn't want me dead or my way of life ended. That's it.
No.
He doesn't even really practice my way of life completely. I mean, he's a Bronx real estate guy. I mean, I would love to have dinner with him. I think it would be hilarious and we would enjoy. But I mean,
I would have fun.
He's not some devoted Christian, whatever. I mean, but he
doesn't pretend to be either. Yeah.
No, he just doesn't hate me and doesn't want me and my family, my people dead. That's it.
That is basically the selling point for Republican candidates for the foreseeable future is
but that's
these
the
people over
line.
Here hate you, want you dead, they want to destroy your way of life.
That's right.
I am against them.
That's
Vote for me. Right. Like that's the message has to be. And you kind of see this. Like you see Vivek Ramaswamy, who's running for governor of Ohio, gave a TPUSA talk, Q&A in Montana. And
did you see who showed up?
A listener of this show, a young man named Jeremy Carl, asked Vivek several questions, and he did great. And it was wonderful to see. Yeah.
I think that kid's got a future.
Yeah, I think he does. I mean, it's interesting.
Too.
He has the same name as another guest of the previous guest of this show. So I wonder if they're related.
What are the odds?
Yeah. Weird.
Let's keep moving.
But anyway, but you see that though, that the Like, I mean, you even see this with like the brilliant Hollyhand kid who's trying to LARP as Charlie Kirk. When he goes to a place and he starts talking about melting pot and nation of immigrants and so on and so forth, like all the young people there challenge him immediately. It's like sharks with smelling blood in the water. Now, no, you're not speaking the same language as me, metaphorically, right? Like these people hate me, want me dead. They want to import millions of people from the third world to replace me, and you're speaking their language. Stop doing that.
And speaking it in a, I mean, before the guy ever makes a political point, is that who you want leading you? I mean, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Like a guy that stands for nothing.
Do his feet ever touch the ground?
Yeah. Like, and as a fraudster, it blows my mind that people allow him to be a thing when it's like, how did he make all of his wealth by rug pulling, people with this Alzheimer's drug, right? That was totally fraudulent. And like, honestly, it's a guy that should be in prison, not running for high office in the United States. But at any rate, but even aside from that, like if he were a figure that could even just say the things that we want to hear, right? People would be like, okay, that's fine. But he can't do that. It's insane. And so anyway, like things are rapidly shifting, rapidly changing, especially among young people. Like they see the game that has been played and they don't want to play it anymore. And I mean, that for one, that gives me a lot of hope. But secondly, the church is totally unprepared for this cultural dynamic. And you see that with what happened to Daniel Keene, that these are, like he said, reasonable, sensible things, right? He didn't say anything that I look at and I'm like, oh, that he sinned in this very clear, obvious way. And even with how they treated him, they couldn't bring up anything like this was a sin, you need to repent. They couldn't do that. It was just a struggle session. It was, we didn't really like your tone.
So that gets to a really good point. Is the trajectory of evangelicalism as was defined, boomer evangelicalism, which still is even among
which you are not one of, by the way. Yeah.
No. Of boomer evangelicalism is the trajectory of that necessarily Maoist, and it's getting more and more to where I think it is. And I'm not talking about the form. Like, a lot of people appreciate the cultural relevance of some of the more modern worship forms and all that. And I actually get some of that. When I'm in Austin, I go to a really interesting church that has its Book of Common Prayer liturgy with folk and Central Texas form. I mean, of musical worship. It's actually kind of beautiful. It's pretty cool.
I mean, maybe we should do that here in Tennessee with some banjos and
it's incredibly and it's this very royal Book of Common Prayer. It's Presbyterian Church, but Book of Common Prayer with all the aspects of that, very formal, but this very approachable cultural sensibility. And I think there's a real place for that. What I'm talking about with this
before you move on to that, I have to say, I'm like I gotta say this. I've always thought, and this, maybe this will make people angry, I don't know, but I've always thought, like, okay, if you had high liturgy on the one hand, and you had the thing that the big mega churches like could you imagine, the Book of Psalms for singing, but with like heavy metal electrical guitars. I mean, maybe I'm speaking your language,
dude, I'm there. I'll bring my Bogner stack. I'll bring all my guitars.
I actually think that would be pretty legit, and it would like bridge these two things, right? If you had that.
Don't be sharing the old pictures of me, Andrew. In the
yeah,
don't do that.
I'm gonna have to find those. Ron's got a mullet. Like he looks like he's in Def Leppard.
I worked for Van Halen for a while. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, and so like I think that, like, you know, do we have to have, like, we're not required to have an organ. Like, I mean, a guitar is a stringed instrument.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it's like I think about that, like how, like, that would be like powerful, you know, to
Yeah, I think so too.
sing like Psalm 110 from the 1973 Book of Psalms for Singing, but it's got like heavy bass behind it. Like, ooh,
oh yeah.
let's go.
Oh, yeah. There's some Jamie Solis stuff that's like that kind of obscure Canadian artist that,
or like Tim, you know, Tim Bouchon, right? You know him at all? Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, Tim's great too. And that's some of the stuff he's done is like set like old settings of metrical psalms to like heavy metal. And it's like, whoa.
Wasn't there who's the guy who's one of us, but he's an anon on Twitter, Derrida?
Golly. Peter Derrida.
Yeah, who used AI to set all the psalms to like some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Some of it was pretty good.
Yeah. And if AI could do that, imagine what a human being could do. But so anyway, like I totally derailed the point you were making, but you were talking about Maoism, that that's not the like the worship form of evangelicalism is not the Maoism that you're talking about, but rather like the struggle sessioning and things like that.
Just so Mao was this, and I think Mao was an evolution of because evangelicalism does have its own certain monolithic culture to it in the sense of the big box evangelicalism I'm talking about, where that is particularly susceptible to this struggle session type of ethic. And Maoism plays into that because Chinese culture is, for as many people as they are, tends to be pretty monolithic, even though it's multiracial. You know, you have the Han in the north, that's the majority, and then you have the Cantonese speaking people that are, but I just think there's something, you know, I haven't done a ton of thinking about it, but I think there is this Maoist inclination that needs to be fought. So that's what I was trying to
think so too. And it isn't even just, you know, it isn't even just, like, I mean, we love to rag on the big box evangelical churches and things like that. And, you know, watching the, you know, the Charlie Kirk memorial, it was like, man, I really love these people, right?
Yeah,
even though I'm not in that world anymore of like big box evangelical mega church Christianity, it's like, these are really great, awesome people that like are so genuine, and you know that these people love the Lord, and they're the very best of America.
Well, why are they drawn to that big? What is that big box giving them? And what they're drawn to is something that makes a difference, because there's a number of people. It's not just them and 10 other families. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there is you know, quantity has a quality all of its own.
It does.
And there's a draw. Oh, wait a minute. We are a people.
There's 20,000 of us here. Yeah.
We are a people here. This is an us.
Yeah.
That goes beyond just my little circle of who I can name.
That's right.
That is powerful. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
No, I hope we can have, you know, in 100 or 200 years, like cathedrals that are that big. And maybe we'll have high liturgy and also rock music that 20,000 people can be part of. But I think I mean, even in, you know, in the higher liturgical churches, like you see this same type of thing of the struggle sessioning and the tone policing, right? I went to, it was just down in Chattanooga this last year. I went to the PCA General Assembly, and that's the first one I've ever been to. and I observed it, and I was, frankly, a little bit, shocked by it. And the thing that shocked me the most was, like, you have this guy, Erwin Insay. I think he might have stepped down. But there was a motion basically to fire him, and the guy is terrible at his job, has blown through all of the money for church planting and things like that, but also is like totally committed to, you ethno narcissist grievance stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
and he has these quotes like where he says, like, I don't feel comfortable around white people and stuff like that, like just nuts, insane things that shouldn't be tolerated. And anytime anyone brought up some of his like race radicalism and things like that, like they're immediately shut down. Like, oh, you're trying to impugn his character and everything. Like, I'm literally just quoting verbatim things he has said. What do you mean I'm trying to impugn his character? Like,
Yeah.
this is public stuff. And they were not, like, the only thing they could talk about was like budgetary things. And I was thinking, like, and it was all about decorum, right? Decorum. You got to have decorum. You got to have to speak in this tone of this sort of bemused,
Gnostic.
nicety.
Gnostic.
Yeah, and it's like, and like any, like, one guy, I can't remember what his name is. I guess he was involved in the rap scene, and is married to a black woman too. It brought up this like race stuff, and it started to get a little bit fiery about it, and they immediately shot him down, and like you could hear boos echoing through the whole place. And I'm like, this is nuts. Like, you're not allowed, like, you literally are not allowed to speak like a man, like an actual grown man in that environment. Right. Like, I could never do it. I'd go up to that microphone, and like they'd be calling the cops, dragging me away, just because like I would be talking like I am talking to you right now, with some level of emotion. And I was flabbergasted by it. But then it made me think, like, when you're talking about Maoist struggle sessioning and things like that, like, that's what it is right. They've elevated this this kind of tone policing to a level where you simply just can't state outright facts. And it makes me think, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the work that Michael Foster is doing right now, drawing attention to all of the PCA churches that appear to have women functioning as pastors and elders in one aspect or another. And there's a lot of them, and the freak out that is happening just because he's calling attention to it. Right.
Yeah, that should be, I mean, let's be really clear. And again, I'm a officer in the PCA, but
yeah, you have to speak with decorum. I don't.
This is a real viral. This is an open wound that where, how to put this in a gentle manner. This is, the PCA has to be careful, or it could get really sick really quick.
Yeah.
And the obvious thing is there are churches that are in complete and utter, both spiritually and formally, in utter rebellion, and they need to be either brought under management or asked to leave, or offered to be brought under supervision. And if they reject it, just immediately ushered out the door.
Yeah.
And there isn't the immediate political will to do that yet.
Yeah.
We will argue over third year seminary stuff that, we will argue over, as my buddy Rich Lusk, and he's CREC, but
he was
my buddy
PCA
Rich
at
Lusk.
one point.
Yeah, he has a great essay. It's old now, but it talks about how arguing over the composition of the pulpit and the color of the carpet, I think, and it's brilliant. And yet here are churches that are just clearly in spiritual and formal rebellion, and you're not going to do anything. And so
No.
it's It's a real, the PCA is at a real crossroads.
Well, and you see what they
And
did, like their main emphasis, right, in the last General Assembly was we need to have a study committee on Christian nationalism because, there might possibly be some people that believe in Christian nationalism that have ideas that maybe we possibly, if you glance at it the right way, we could characterize as racist. And so if there's even one single person like that in the PCA or one pastor or elder like that in the entire PCA, we have to uncover every possible stone, look under in every crevice and corner of the PCA to root this out forever.
yeah. And
Like
what's funny is
that is DEFCON 1 for them. But
I hang out with a lot of Christian now, and I'm more of a federalist by conviction, but I'm friends. I mean, and on a lot of podcasts that are very sympathetic or very pro Christian nationalism, and I haven't met with the folks who are really truly Christian. There's not a lot of rank racism going on. But if there was, where is that and I will get in trouble for this, but where is that in relation to what is the New Testament more clear on? Where does it speak to more times? The relationship in the church between men and women, or the relationship among the Old Covenant distinctive groupings?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even there,
and that's what this is. And I want people to understand where I really am coming. I think a lot of this stuff is focusing on an Old Covenant distinctive, which people are going to have opinions on. And sometimes it's an opinion you're comfortable with, and sometimes it's not. But the New Covenant is very clear on some things that we're just kind of going to, homosexuality and the function of the sexes within the sanctuary is very clear in the New Covenant.
It couldn't be more clear.
It's just clear. So why are we focusing on these Old Covenant distinctions that people are going to be opinionated about? Sometimes they're going to be boorish and maybe immature, but we're gonna focus on that instead of these New Covenant distinctions that are just super clear.
And to be really clear, like the things that they would say, oh, this crosses a line into racial racial antagonism or racial oppression or whatever language they would use, right? They would look at Daniel Keene's tweet about H-1Bs or America turning into India. They would view that as an example of what they're looking for.
Well, what they see is the church as not producing a culture because it's only I don't understand it because we are, I'm not a Puritan, but we are in America. Presbyterianism is largely a Puritan movement. And Puritanism was absolutely about producing a culture that was distinct. And America has been, for better or worse, has been a product of different evolutions of that culture.
Yeah.
It absolutely has been. So for Presbyterians to say, oh, there is no American Christian culture is it's just either dishonest or completely stupid.
Yeah, totally ignorant. Yeah.
Well, I think it goes beyond ignorance. I really do. I'm gonna step it up. I think it's the lack of the ability to understand what a cultus is, and is there a way we do things that is promoting spiritual goodness and health. And if that only exists within your individual heart, that's just not historical Christianity. And it's blank sure not American Christianity.
Certainly not. Well, let me get to this.
I self-edited. Good.
We got a super chat from Stryker, and I want to get to that $5 from Stryker. Stryker's a good dude.
Way to go, Stryker.
PCA Series C discussion. Have you seriously considered a nomination for your church? I'm not sure about indefinite independence. Neither am I sure about indefinite. Actually, I'm very sure about indefinite independence, and I'm against it. And yes, we have had several discussions about denominational affiliation, and we're pursuing all avenues for that. I can't make any announcements or anything at this point, but we very much would like to not be independent. That's not what we want to be. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good for churches and pastors, and our particular church. We don't want to be as well. So, okay. Got it. I saw his comment. Yeah, and even in like denominational affiliation, something that takes a lot of time in the Reformed world. The wheels of it moves very slowly, and that's good. It's actually good that things move very slowly. You don't want things to be hasty. And so, yeah, I think to finally, to get back to OMB discussion, the main purpose of our talk here. I'm
sorry, what?
But it's the OMB.
Oh yeah, OMB.
Yeah. But we'll
go
get back
read
to
my
that
article.
In a second. Yeah, just read Ron's article, and we don't even have to talk about it. But I think that we're in this very precarious area, and that's part of it too, is like things shifting so rapidly, especially with young men, is right. The point, and you've brought up this word several times, Ron, is maturity. And these are young men that are going to mature into something. And normally in normative circumstances,
like where very Kafka. That sounded very Kafka, Andrew.
Yeah, well, try not to be too much like Franz Kafka, but like normatively, where does maturity come from? Where does it who leads young men into maturity? It's older men, it's older, wiser men, and present company excluded. The older, wiser men are simply not there. They're totally oblivious to these things going on. They believe many false things. They believe many things that are good and normal and natural, things that their grandfathers and great grandfathers and limitless generations prior to them believed are downright evil. And they have been in rebellion, like multiple generations have been in rebellion against what their fathers and left to them. And so now the young men want that. They want to go back to the great chain of tradition that has been skipped for a generation or two. And there's no one there that has any memory of what maturity in that looks like, right? No one there that says, oh, like having a nation is good. That having a particular people is a good thing. And this is a means that God uses to bring the gospel to the world is nations.
Right. How can you love your neighbor if you don't have any? I mean, neighbor, really go and look at how that is framed. It's the sense in which you must the ethical mitigation on the individual in the New Testament is on those whom God puts you near to.
Yeah.
And how can you love your neighbor if you can't speak their language? Now, you can care for that, if somebody's, like on the side of the road, like in the parable of the Good Samaritan.
Yeah.
But that is an exception that highlighted the hardness of the heart of the Pharisees.
That's right.
That they had rejected their role as the center of world civilization to call the nations to draw near to the one true God. That's a separate issue. Loving
the parable isn't actually about how great this ethnic outsider is primarily. The kindness and goodness of the despised Samaritan is meant to highlight how wicked the priests and the Levites and the Pharisees were. That's the point of it, is that even this Samaritan, who you all disdain completely and thinks horrible, helps out this man. And these guys just walk by him, and they do so because they're so holy. He might be dead, and they can't touch a dead body because they're on their way to the temple, and they'll be ritually unclean. So they take the minor things of the law to neglect the greater things of the law. Right. That's the point of the parable.
That's right. And this is why Schmidt, this 1920s and 30s German, politically connected German, I won't mention the party, but he says in writing on Friend and Enemy that you cannot, because of this very teaching, why dehumanization is the limit by which you can't go there, because this is showing where the limit is. And he was very, concerned about where he saw his countrymen going in order. Okay, fine. We'll fix this problem eventually. Okay, if this is how we got to ratchet, he goes, no, there's a limit here. And you can't. Dehumanization will destroy, because Schmidt, forget all the liberal commentary on Schmidt. Schmidt was a Christian, a Catholic. He probably wouldn't be, we wouldn't be comfortable necessarily in his Catholic milieu of how he understood that, but he identified as a Christian. He specifically, and he said dehumanization because of this is that's where this friend enemy distinction, that's its limit. And so
and that's
because I'll tell you, in my heart sometimes, it's the temptation of, well, okay, fine, let's just fix this.
Exactly. Everyone eventually goes there. And you have to.
Anton talks about blue versus red Caesar. Out there somewhere is infrared Caesar, right? Or ultraviolet Caesar. And those two guys, they'll fix. If you want to be Mao or whatever that is on the right, their solution is fine. We'll just kill a bunch of people.
And the mature Christian understanding of these things is that, like you said, you cannot go there. You cannot cross that line.
That's right.
And the left is already there, right? When it uses
that, and that's where I wanted to land the plane. That's where the left is.
The fascist, Nazi person preaching hate. That's somebody worthy of death. That's what they believe.
So they are there. They are ultraviolet.
And the question is right now the church is, all the ecclesiastical leaders, and it isn't just the Reformed world, like the PCA or evangelical world, like it's all of Christendom, all of like everyone, like I see this, the Pope Bob does his thing where he's doing, just preaching leftoid talking points, blessing blocks of ice and things like that. And you'll have all of these like Reformed guys like, see how terrible the Pope is. And like mocking the Catholics.
About Pope Bob, did you see the video that kind of got viral on I don't know if it was Insta or TikTok. I don't have that stuff, but my kids and wife show me where his situationship in Chicago was like, oh my gosh, mom's old situationship became Pope. Have you seen this video?
I have not seen this. This is funny.
It's hilarious.
That's funny.
It kind of humanized the guy. I can
tell you have daughters, because my kids don't send me those kinds of but man, but you see this though, like people attack and it's like what I attacked Pope Bob a little bit too, but my understanding of it is like, this is not unique to the Roman Catholics. That we have our own, like the PCA has Ligon Duncan, who wrote the foreword to Woke Church, right? You have the Russell Moores and the David Frenches and all of those people all throughout evangelicalism, and like most big box evangelical pastors are in that spectrum somewhere, and it's like we have all the same problems that they're totally keyed into the priorities of the left. That when I mean, in like Big Eva speak, when Joe Biden is president, or Barack Obama was president, right? Social justice, that's a gospel issue. We need to preach about social justice and be a prophetic witness. And Donald Trump is president. Well, the gospel is neither left nor right, and we're just going to kind of stay out of it, right? And both of those things show you that what are they given over to? It's not even just cowardice. I mean, in a lot of examples, it is cowardice, but it's cowardice because they understand that institutional control of everything is left wing. Of everything is left wing. That's where the real power is. And so to finally circle back to OMB, the entire administrative state is dominated by the left. And we have a once in a lifetime opportunity to completely destroy it. So is that going to happen, Mr. Dodson?
I hope so. We got to get to, we need this. First of all, we need intestinal fortitude among certain people in the cabinet, or I'll leave
or
it
higher than that. Yeah.
Higher than that. We need to see support for this RIF plan of the OMB. So that's reduction in force plan for the OMB, which is an extension of the basically the non-essential employee plans that each agency submits to OMB in cases of shutdown.
Yeah.
The RIF plan, the reduction in force, can be administered basically after you get past the waiting period. And that's, for all intents and purposes, about 60 days.
I was going to say it's a 60-day limit. How far?
So
I mean, what are we in? 10 days now? 2 weeks?
Something like that. We need to.
Okay.
But the point is that to put the cookies on the bottom shelf, this is all about Article 2 in the Constitution. And Article 2's vesting clause for the president is very, very short and sweet. It just empowers the president to control the executive branch. And the illuminating commentary on that is, you can go read it, is Alexander Hamilton's Federalist number 70. And it's, the president is the chief executive over his executive branch. He has they serve at his pleasure. He is the CEO of a corporate entity whose job it is to enforce and to both protect the people and enforce the laws enacted by Congress as he sees most fit, so to speak. And
CEO, you're talking about the president as a CEO. You sound sort of like a certain guy. Yes. The president is CEO. Yeah, right there. Bold book. You sound just like Bold book.
So Curtis,
you're not saying and enough to sound like him though.
I like Curtis. You know,
I mean, too. I really
dig Curtis. So
I love listening to him and the affect
of our Jewish friend's character.
Yeah, he's great.
I might be seeing him this weekend. So
yeah, you didn't laugh at my joke about Mr. Yarvin because you know him. But if you do happen to see him, please let him know that we would love to chat with him on this show at any time he wants to come on. We'd love to chat with him. But anyway,
I'll be real honest. I really want to talk to him about the tension between that lends to this between historicism and rational eternality of principles, and because he's an engineer at heart, and so he's looking and really he's a following on in the footsteps of Hans Hermann Hoppe. And the reason Curtis and I see eye to eye on a lot of things is we were both reading Hoppe at the same time in the early to mid 90s. And so anyway, point being is that the Silicon Valley tends towards a form of Straussian natural law rationalism, and most on the right following, let's say, a paleocon, Gottfried kind of thing, which I also love. Well, I don't have it here. It's at the house. I have Gottfried's essential essays. Support
I have it
your
over on my
brother.
desk too.
Support
Yeah,
Lomez at Passage
that's right.
Press. Go
That's
order his
right.
books. And Jonathan, man, I love that dude. I've
Yeah.
gotten to know
Yeah, he's great.
him recently. He's awesome. But anyway, point being is there's this tension between on the Gottfried Paleocon right, which I fully consider myself part of, but I
Same.
also I write for a Straussian. I write for Claremont, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think Strauss is absolutely brilliant as a reader.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and this natural law, natural right. I think there's something there. I think so. There's this, but there's a big tension between historicism and this natural rationalism. And Strauss was very much against historicism. So there's a tension there. I think the bridge of that tension is the meta of the church through the Spirit. But
Yeah.
most of these guys aren't Christian believers. So I kind of
It
want to
almost
talk
sounds
about
like
Curtis.
Eugen Rosenstock
Talk to
Husey.
Curtis about that stuff.
Yeah.
What's that?
You're familiar with Eugen Rosenstock Husey.
Oh yeah, but that's so niche, and
It is, but like
Dewey Weird.
it seems like
Dewey Weird.
Yeah, Dewey Weird or I'm not
Weird,
Dutch.
yeah.
So, yeah, I can't pronounce it.
And really, this is where our buddy, Jim was.
Yeah.
Jim is seen as this kind of post-theocratic, systematizer, but I think he was really a biblical political theologist. Is where
Yes,
I
right.
really see Jim's project, and that's why a lot of the new guys who've come after Jim are uncomfortable with some of his stuff because they want to go back to just simple biblical theology or whatever. And Jim was really into political theology. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Do with that
I
what
share
you want.
it.
So anyway, back to OMB.
I share it.
The idea here is the Article 2 says that you have a chief executive and his job is to run the executive branch, this enforcement arm, and in addition to foreign policy and being chief also over the armed forces and so on and so forth. And if there's a problem, then the legislative branch needs to bring that, and the judiciary functions as an arbiter between the two.
Between them, yeah.
The problem is you're always in it, just like, and that is a Trinitarian view of Republican government. That's why we have three co-equal branches that function in this perichoretic circle, so to speak. But on Earth we have our three. I'm getting kind of theoretical here, but you guys can keep up. Stay with me.
Yeah.
On Earth we have
this audience
the analog of this, and I get my divine simplicity guys jump on me for being social Trinitarian. I don't care. I'm perichoresis all the way. Is you have the three institutions of God, which is church, family, and state. And we see in political and in institutional history, those three institutions are always vying for ultimate power. So you see the family always pushing for a tribalistic understanding of the world. You see, here's where I'm going to get in trouble with my Jordan buddies and my Biblical Horizon buddies. You see the church often pushing to maximize its ecclesiocentralism.
That's right.
And to a beyond which our Biblical Horizon or our Theophilus guys would say, I think. And then you always see the state pushing towards an absolutizing of everything in the state. You saw this in Mussolini. You saw this absolutely in Mao and in Pol Pot, and in some cases of the emperor cult in Rome. Especially when it was pushing back against the emergence of the church. But in the best worlds, that's a tripartite stool of three co-equal. But in America, you see the same thing. So you get the judiciary pushes for judicial supremacy, which is not only not constitutional, it's idiocy. You see the legislative branch pushing for legislative supremacy, even though they can't even pass a budget. They don't legislate.
That's right.
But you never see and for good reason, but you never see really this whole idea of, oh, it's the imperial presidency. Nonsense. There's never been a president push for a true, except for FDR and for Lincoln, push for an executive supremacy. And that's not what Trump is pushing for. He's just pushing for Article 2 authority. And if
that's already there.
The legislative, and if they have a problem with it, bring it to the Supreme Court and let's hash it out. Yeah. So that's what I write about. So Russ Vought, who's the head of OMB, has a plan. And again, you can read about the specifics. Please link my my article. It's at American Mind. You can go read it.
Yeah.
Ronald
Dodson. It's in the show description. Yeah.
And so it's this plan to basically gut this largesse of the eternal administrative class, which functions as a managerialist extension of a communist ideal, where there's this eternal administrative state that is unaccountable. It functions as the Supreme Duma, though, and even less deliberative and wholly unaccountable. And this is the plan to get rid of it, to make it bow the knee to its executive head, the president.
Yeah.
And so there's really three ways to attack it. So this RIF plan is one. The other two are through Schedule F, but that's another battle for another day. And then through impoundment. And those are both exciting and wonderful. Nixon practiced impoundment. And this is why Watergate happened, because Nixon was trying to do this exact same thing 50 years ago. And a little over 52 years ago. And this is why Watergate happened, was the deep state saw what was happening. But Trump, I think, has got them by the parts, let's say. See, Kara?
Yes.
I'm listening to you, Kara. So
that's right.
He has them
kids.
Because what are they going to do? Because no longer are the people saying that, oh, the shutdown is the fault of the president. No. They know. The Democrats, all they had to do is to give up funding illegal alien health care.
Couldn't do it.
Sorry, not illegal immigrant. It's illegal alien health care.
Yeah.
They are aliens.
That's right.
And all they had to do is give up. And the president said, oh, this is the game you want to play? I'm sorry. I brought a shotgun to your triangle paper football game.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. He has them in this place. And that, so, I mean, you bringing up, Nixon and impoundment and the likely rationale for the Watergate coup. It makes me
read Nathan Pinkowski.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Boy, I got a Nathan Pinkowski retweet 2 days ago, and I almost needed to smoke a cigarette. I mean, that dude.
It makes me think, like, I mean, the entire time Trump has been in danger, but this takes it to an entirely new level. That if he really is able to gut the permanent, unaccountable, unelected government of the United States and bring it under the control of the executive, that this is absolutely something that they would end his life over, right? That they've already attempted it twice, and I mean, this is serious stuff. I mean, at the same time, they probably don't want to make JD Vance the president either, because he would carry on the exact same thing.
So here's what, because I'm going to have to go here in a minute, because we've been going.
Yeah, me too. I got. It's almost noon. Oh man.
But here's what you can do. Is the president responds to his people, and it's obvious who his people are. And it's not just the MAGA right. I mean, there's just normal people who love him because he doesn't hate them.
That's right.
But go support. Hey, stuff like calling your congressman, tweeting about it, showing this response, because there are a couple in the administration who aren't bad people, but they have cold feet. I mean, I'd like to think they're not bad. I don't think they're bad people. I don't know them. I've had dinner with one of them, though, who have cold feet about this. And Trump needs to, and they're in Trump's ear, and our beloved president he gets so much done because I think he's as ADHD as a kindergartner at times, and he hears, so he's going to pay a lot of attention to the last three people who are in his ear. And so we need to be online. We need to be giving Stephen Miller and JD and all these, we need to be telling them, no, we are for you. And we need to be tagging Russ Vogt and saying, we are for you. And we need to be tagging all the other administrative heads and saying, hey, we, Secretary of Education, McMahon, and I hear Health and Human Services is playing along. We need to be telling, we want you to have an agency that can respond to the president and can be lean and mean and not unaccountable. We want this. This is what we need to do, because there are those who think that because this is, because of the history of the last, 80 years or so, think this is revolutionary. No, it's not revolutionary whatsoever. It is just trying to recover and return what our forefathers have said, and to give the president
nothing revolutionary about this at all. Right.
No.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to do. And this is a once in a lifetime opportunity that the Democrats, in their stupidity have, in their lack of wisdom, have handed us the plate. Now, can we hit them over the head with it?
We'll see. I mean, you bring up a really good point, Ron, that, I mean, I've been told this by staffers in DC, in Congress, that if you have a congressman that is like under the age of 50, right, if they're younger, they read every single reply and quote tweet that you make. So number one, like,
I've
been doing this for a while, but like, be very, be respectful.
Just be a grown up. That's what.
But you can be pointed. You can still be pointed, right? Like,
just be a grown up about it.
Yeah, I just like, even if you just say, Mr. or Ms., right, and their last name, and then you say what you're going to say, and it might be somewhat pointed, right? But you say it in that way. Like, I mean, I had this happened when like Braxton Miller was having the big fight with Senator Mike Lee, over the sale of public land. And his every tweet that Mike Lee would send was just getting ratioed to the moon. And one of them, his like chief of staff replied, and basically saying, like, I have no idea where's this coming from? Why is everyone so angry? And I replied to him, and I just said, like, whatever, if I can't remember specifically verbatim what I said, but it was like, well, if Senator Lee completely reversed course, not only on this, but also on his love of the H-1B visa, and if he took a total 180 on that and began to oppose the H-1B visa, all of the people that you're seeing here on the internet that are so angry with him would immediately love him. Right. With the same degree of passion. Right. And he and his chief of staff, saw that and either DM me or replied. And it's like, they read this stuff, right? This is like, online is very much real life. And yeah, if you can I know, we like to post, and we like to, we like to, let it all out there, leave it all on the field. But when you're dealing with them, if you just say straightforward, like, I think this is wrong, this is what you should do, right, and just leave it at that, and treat them like adults, and treat them like they're actually going to read it, like, it actually has an effect, right? And so, in particular on this issue, right, this is actually like the whole ball game, right? If you can through the reduction in force and through impoundment and everything else, if you could bring this fight to a head, right, that the administrative state, right, the whole managerial New Deal, everything after that, this monster, this leviathan that's been created, can actually be destroyed. And so whatever you could do online to support that, like, please do, go ahead and do it. Like, and the people, they're listening, right? Because they have no idea, right? Like, you think about Congress, right? Congress, like, all they see all day are like lobbyists, people from various special interests telling them here, this or that. They get polling and things like that, from consultants and everything, but they really don't have any idea what the actual constituents think.
It is a very unsexy fishbowl.
Yeah.
I've been, anyway, I've been up there a bunch lately, and it's none of them have this office.
Yeah.
This isn't a fake background, by the way.
It's real. It's not a green screen.
It's real. Yeah. None of them have this.
Ron's showing off today. He's showing off the car keys. He's showing off the.
That's right.
The office.
That's right. You too. Work hard. And no, I mean, God could take it all away tomorrow. Just
that's right.
Don't take my wife or kids, please, 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 Lord. But they don't. The echo chamber that both the elected officials and the agency officials live in, it's everybody goes to the same places to eat. So hearing from you, and again, just be an adult doesn't mean you can't make a forceful argument, but just if you sound like you're 13 writing from your basement and you just finished, nobody's going to listen to you. But if you make a cogent argument and keep it brief, it makes a difference. It really, really does.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I've got to get going. I'm going to be late.
I do too.
And I'm sure you got stuff to do too. But thanks for coming on, Ron, to talk about this stuff. This is it's always a blast to just hang out with you, even via, pixels and dots. Hopefully someday soon we'll get to hang out together in real life, in the flesh. But total blast hanging out with you. I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation. We were all over the place today, and totally expected. And that's the rabbit trail. I was told by none other than Pastor Doug Wilson when I was in school in Moscow. I was told by him very early on in a lecture, the rabbit trail is the point, right? The rabbit trail is the point. And I learned way more from the rabbit trails he would go on, the digressions, than like the actual content, which is not to say the content wasn't good, but the rabbit trail, that's where you really learn stuff, is the little asides. And we took lots of rabbit trails, and always great stuff. So anything other than, you have the American Mind article. Anything else coming up that you're going to be publishing, or anything else you're doing? What's the you're going to be? Is it American Reformer you're going to be on a podcast for, or who? What are you going to be on next?
I don't know when we'll put that out, so I don't want to steal Haberstad's.
Well, just keep Ron on your radar. Follow him on Next.com.
write-
He'll post it.
Yeah, I had a somewhat recent piece in American Reformer. I spent a lot of time on two threads yesterday. So on my Twitter about about
Nick
how
Land?
OSS and CIA
Oh yeah,
have always been tools of the left.
we could have done 2
And-
hours on that.
Yeah.
right.
So
yeah.
And I did two threads, one on its origin and why, and the very real reason why it's left leaning, and then why that was a product of being an Anglophile project, because we basically trained the original OSS and CIA with MI6, and they were experiencing in their government a anti-colonial move, and that's really
When they're
been
chock
the
full of
function
communists, like
CIA
the
has
Cambridge,
never been a right-wing thing.
Yeah, right. Like
So
they're
I wrote on
full of
that.
Soviet agents, like Kim Burgess, or Kim Philby.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I've been writing on, I wrote on that, and then, and that kind of blew up, which was kind of fun to see, because, I'm serious. I get up at, about 5:36 every morning, and I go out with my two dogs, feed the dogs, and I sit down in the same chair and have my coffee. And if I sometimes just thumb out a thread, and I did that yesterday morning, and it's hilarious. I spent all this time writing these long essays, and then occasionally it's the thread that, I mean, shoot, I think that's up to close to 100,000 views right now. So,
yeah. The thread is always like, I've kind of stopped doing the long Twitter posts, because like something about the aesthetic is just harder to read. But I could do the exact same thing in like 30 posts, and it's the same. Everyone will read it. You know, it's interesting human psychology there. But yeah, that was good. You had a good discussion of Nick Land, because that came up with Oren, and it was
with
also
Oren. Yeah.
And I think it was spawned by a brief aside in a Tucker interview, and so interesting stuff is happening.
Well, I was never. I mean, I know we got to go, but so my connection with Nick, I never read Nick Land until his old Twitter account, Outsideness. He followed me, and then DM me wanting to talk about some Christian stuff, and I was like, well, who is this guy? And I asked our friend Big Nate, because I knew he knew about Nick Land and had read all the stuff, and that's how I got. And Nick's different, and probably he definitely doesn't do things the way I would. I mean, go listen to the Dugan. Anyway, point being is, I've been on Arn lately. You can listen to that.
We're doing it
on Arn lately. Yeah. Anyway, I'm out there. You can go look. Go on Apple Podcasts and search
Follow
Ron Dodson. I've been on
everyone right now.
Lately.
Follow Ron. Follow Ron Dodson. Josh Pulver. That is it. CJ's not here. CJ does California goodbyes. He's like, all right, see ya, and then he goes. He's not a man of high culture like Midwesterners and Southern. I've found that in the South they do this too. It's a Midwest and Southern thing. Where it's like,
Baptist parking lot. Goodbye.
I guess I better be going now. So yes, all of you follow Ron, and also there was an executive order. Columbus Day is back Monday, so I hope you have a big bowl of spaghetti on Monday, and thank the Lord that Columbus discovered the New World after my people, the Vikings did. But we won't get into that right now. Yesterday was Leif Erikson Day, by the way. That should also be a big holiday. It takes 45 minutes. It takes 3 steps to the door. It takes 45 minutes for me to press the end stream button. But celebrate Columbus Day. I hope you all have a wonderful Columbus Day weekend, and stay peacefully dangerous. And we will see you next time.